students, good day. I am Teacher Chesant and I am with Teacher Hannah,
Hi.
Teacher Jane,
Hi.
and Teacher Lee.
Hi.
Today, we will talk about popular music. Let me ask you, what is your favorite music or genre of music? Do you listen to it every day? Does it make you feel good? If yes, let us now start exploring popular music. The term popular music is extremely vague, covers a wide field of musical endeavor, and ranges from a long period of time. There has been popular music ever since a man made music for his own pleasure. Popular music is music with wide appeal that is typically distributed to large audiences through the music industry. Now, let us meet and know the different popular music genres and know its beats. First in the list is the blues. It is a combination of African and Western music together. Some blues songs told stories of heartbreak and pain, and these were often slow and sad. But others were about being in love or having fun, and these were up-tempo and good to dance to. Second is the jazz. It is a mixed European harmony with the rhythms and scales of blues. One of the jazz's greatest musicians was the trumpet player Louis Armstrong, who helped to develop many styles of jazz. He was in New Orleans, his hometown, in the 1910s when the marching band style of New Orleans jazz or Dixieland was being born. As jazz was becoming more and more popular in the 1930s and 1940s, most young people who went to these places thought blues was old-fashioned, and so the bands had to develop a new style. And what they created was the third genre, which is the rhythm and blues, or the R&B. The early forms of R&B were loud and lively and mostly played on drums, double bass, and electric guitar. R&B was great, fun, and perfect for dancing. And by the mid-1940s, many bands were selling records. Today, the term R&B is now used to describe romantic soul songs and ballads, a very different style to the original R&B. Next, Teacher Hannah will introduce you to the rock and roll and the 1960s genres.
Thank you, Teacher Chesant. So good day, students. I'm Teacher Hannah, and now we will proceed to rock and roll. Was the new genre of music created by combining R&B and Western swing in the 1950s. It was played on the same set of instruments as country music but with a rock and roll feel. So rock and roll was known for energetic performances and catchy melodies. It had a strong blues beat and an R&B feel, but the melodies were like those of country music at the same time. Examples of rock and roll music are Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin and Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. The 1960s. In the early 1960s, a new genre called rock music began to develop when young musicians combined the rock and roll of artists like Elvis with elements of R&B. Later in the 60s, soul artists like James Brown developed a more rhythmic style called funk. Funk is a style of dance that evolved from the black R&B, soul, and jazz scenes in the mid-1960s. Funk led to many new styles of dance music in the 70s, the 80s, and beyond. In the late 70s, a new genre called hip-hop also developed. Hip-hop is a cultural movement associated especially with rap music. Also, hip-hop is one of the most popular genres of music in the world, and it's produced many hit singles on the pop music charts. Best-selling popular music artists of all time. The popularity of artists is determined by the number of singles and albums they sell. So here are the 10 most successful artists of all time. So first, the Beatles, a British pop and rock band. Second, Elvis Presley. He is an American rock and roll, pop and gospel artist. Third, Michael Jackson. He is an American soul, pop and dance pop artist. Fourth, Madonna. She is an American pop and dance pop artist. Fifth, Elton John. He is a British rock and pop singer-songwriter. 6. Led Zeppelin, a British blues, R&B and rock band. 7. Pink Floyd, a British rock band. 8. Mariah Carey. She is an American pop and soul artist. 9. Celine Dion. She is a Canadian pop, soul, and jazz artist. And last, Whitney Houston. She is an American pop and soul artist.
Thank you, Teacher Hannah. So hello, good day students. I'm Teacher Erica and now we will proceed to the impact of popular culture, the history of Philippine music, and the Spanish-European influence tradition. But first, let's talk about the impact of popular culture. Impact of popular culture. Pop music impacts society, especially on teenagers, because pop music has the power to inspire people to consider where they're heading in life, to inform their decisions, and to aid in the formation of identities. Now, let's talk about the history of Philippine music. So, the history of Philippine music by Old Asian influenced the indigenous, while the secular and religious are influenced by Spaniards and Europeans. And the American influenced the semi-classical music in our countries. Now, let's proceed to the Spanish-European influence tradition. So the Spanish and European countries influence music by Spanish colonization, whereas they bring Christianity to our country, and our music preference changed to secular and religious music. Let's now listen to Teacher Charlene.
The American influence traditions. The American regime lasted from 1898 to 1946, during which time Philippine music underwent another process of transformation. Their works and those of succeeding generations of Filipino composers represent the classical art music tradition which continue to flourish today. Side by side with this classical art music tradition was a lighter type of music. American lifestyle and pop culture gave rise to music created by Filipinos using Western pop forms. These three main streams of Philippine music: indigenous, Spanish-influenced religions and secular music, American European influenced classical, semi-classical, and the popular music comprise what we refer today as Philippine music. Importance: the variety of music forms, styles, and traditions that exist mirror the rich diversity in Filipino culture. Fortunately, until today, these rich indigenous musical traditions live on. They serve as a reminder of the Filipinos' long history of a musical talent and ingenuity.
That is all for popular music. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you learned something.